All right, so today we're going to talk about the thought shifting process, part two. So, what I'm going to focus on today is teaching you how to apply this process, but for beginners, right? Like you're new to this, and how are we going to effectively apply this in your life? Most of the people who have a tremendous amount of success with this technique is people who I coach and people who I work with first-handedly. So today I want to share with you sort of what that process looks like when I first start working with someone. What's the major problems and mistakes that people make so we could really fix that for you. So by the end of this video, you will have a good understanding of how to practice this technique in a very simple way. This won't be the video that'll teach you how to hit home runs with this technique, but you will start hitting like first bases with this technique, which is more than enough to start seeing massive shifts in your life right now. In the future videos and with what I go through with my clients, like we start to learn how to hit second base, third base, home runs with this technique. So that means that instead of just finding relief on this topic, you're directly shifting into huge paradigm shifts on the spot, just in a single quick thought shifting session. So make sure you watch part one of this video before you watch this. This way you'll understand like what's going on, what is the technique, what is the process. And also, I, I'm in Bangkok right now. Like I've successfully made a good amount of money online, and my online business and everything's doing super well, and everything in my life is doing super well, and I'm able to move to Bangkok, well, at least, for a few months, just however long I want, right? And just live my best life. My best friend's here, but she lives like kind of 20 minutes away. And it's just amazing. We hang out every day after I do my content and spiritual practice, work on my book. Uh, I've manifested all of this stuff, everything. So the first key when you're doing this process is you want to make sure you're not getting too positive too quick. Everyone makes this mistake. And I'll show you more examples later on, but just remember this. You want to get less negative. So let's say you start with your negative statements. You want to get less negative. Like you don't want to get like anywhere close to, being positive like too quick, and you'll see what I'm talking about. And you want to taste test these thoughts out first, right? You want to try out different thoughts. You don't want to just dive in into sort of like just the next thought you think of. You don't want to just um go with it if it's not the right thought. So if you think a thought that's like too positive, don't try to run with that. If you think another thought and it's like too negative, don't try to run with that, right? Like you want to try to find a thought that feels good, then run with it. And then the last point is we want to make sure we're just hitting first bases right now. We're just trying to find thoughts of relief. If you find one thought of relief, you're done. If you find a less negative thought, you're done. A lot of times for beginners, you find one less negative thought and then you try to keep going and your technique is just not that good and then you fail. Like, and then, you found relief and then you try to keep going and all of a sudden it's a mess, right? So just cut yourself off at first base for now. We'll talk about how to go deeper. All right, so let's start with the topic of money. So my credit card bills are due. So basically with money, one of the key things I do is I look at what is stressing me out about money right now. Like what are the things in my life that are causing me to feel stressed about money? Right? It's like with money, it's the lack of freedom. And it feels like you're on like a hamster wheel all the time. It feels like things just keep coming at you. And the things that are coming at you are what you need to clear, basically. It's what's stressing you out the most about whatever topic every day. And in this case, we'll start with money. So my credit card bills are due. I'm worried that I can't pay it off. So this is my statement of resistance, right? And you should know all this stuff from the last video. So I shifted into I have a whole month before I have to make a payment, which it's not like a positive thought to me. It's like, damn, I still don't have the money for my credit card bills, but at least I have a whole month before I have a payment. So something can shift, something can happen in a month. And this is just like a slight relief, right? So that's all you need to do. It's just to find some slight relief. And you just do this often in a day, right? Like, so if you're gonna hit first bases, you might as well do this like 5, 10 times a day. And I'll talk a little bit more about that approach in a little bit. The next one, I'm in Thailand and I'm worried that I'm not gonna have enough money for this trip. What if I somehow spend too much money and don't make enough? Okay, so this is my statement of resistance. Then I shifted into if I have to spend less money, then I will. I could have just stopped there. That was like a less negative thought to me. Like that wasn't really a positive thought because at that point in Thailand, like I've been balling out, like just um going to the nicest rooftop bars, like spending like $400 on like 16 shots of like Don Julio or something. I don't know. Like I've been balling, like I've been living on the top, and like I feel like that's my new lifestyle, and like I don't want to tone myself down. So if I had to spend less money than I will, like that is definitely not positive for me. Like if I'm balling out, why like and I'm used to this, like why would I want to tone it down? But in this case, it's like, okay, if I have to tone it down, if my money is like does get low, which in reality, like my money is not nowhere close to being low. But like but these are just little stresses that I have. It's like, but if my money does get low, then I will, tone down on the spending and yeah. And then I could have stopped there, but I kept going. And I said my money goes really far here. Right. So it's just like, man, every dollar I make, and I'm making a lot of money online. It's like, man, that goes so far. And just that realization like helped me just really, really find a lot of relief. And funny story, like the next day, like, I got like a bunch of new clients, like every time. Um, let's see. My parents are always on me about money. I don't want them to find out about my money struggles. Okay, so for this one, I'm gonna try something new. I'm gonna try something new. Um, so let's say I just have this, right? My parents are always on me about money. I don't want them to find out about my money struggles. Now, this is what most people would do, right? So yeah, okay, I'm gonna try something new with this one. So my parents are always on me about money. I don't want them to find out about my money struggles. So if you were to do this, right? If this is your process, then number one, you're trying to find a thought that's less negative, right? You don't want to get too positive too quick. And the second key is you don't have to uh just commit to the first less negative thought you think of, right? So for example, if I write down a thought right now, um, who cares what my parents think? Okay, this is a cool thought, but I don't feel that relief. I don't feel that shift. Like it doesn't feel like I'm on the wheel. Maybe it does for some other people, but yeah, like this one really doesn't care. Doesn't really hit it for me, let's say. So then, okay, I just, try again with the less negative thought, right? So I can try, they won't care once I'm fully uh supporting them financially and balling out. Okay, like this doesn't feel good either because it's like when I'm at this place. Actually, this kind of feels good for me where I am right now, but I'm trying to like act like I'm a beginner. But like this is too positive for when I was first doing this, right? And so, okay, neither of those thoughts felt good. So I have to try something else, right? And I already wrote down these examples, but I said, I'm not always struggling with my business, right? And that thought finally felt good. And so I felt good and I kept going. And it's normal to have low months in business. And that felt really good to me because all of a sudden I don't feel bad about what's happening. And it puts everything I'm doing with my business into perspective. Like I'm thinking, man, it took my parents like 15, 20 years to like even make any amount of money. Like they've been just borrowing money for forever and they've been like they're always like struggling with their business for the longest time in their life. And it's like, man, I've had some really good months, and it's just like, man, like some months are slower than others, and I'm like, okay, I'm actually not doing bad. Like just because I'm not making like a crazy amount of money like every month, like right away, doesn't mean like I'm not doing well. Like I'm at that time, like I was still like 6 months into my online business, and I at the time had no idea how to run an online business and everything. So it's like, man, I'm actually doing really well. This is like a good progression of my business. Like nothing is going wrong here. Like I'm actually doing really well. And just off of this, it helped me realize that. And I felt so much relief, like so much pressure is lifted off of me. And that's how you know you're doing it right. Like you'll feel this pressure relief. Like right now, we're not trying to get to the point where we're like completely paradigm shifting right now. We're just finding relief. That's more than enough. And this one is about so you see what I did here. So you see what I did. So you see what I did was um I f- I taste tested these thoughts until I found one that actually felt good, like felt like relief. And this is like a less negative thought, right? I'm not always struggling with my business, you know? And then it just picked up from there, right? And so this is still kind of like a first base type of thing. Like I could have stopped here, just like a first base, but I felt like, oh, okay, I felt good to keep going for one more thought, and I stopped here. So like one or two thought for now is more than enough. There's no like set rule for this, but I'm just trying to teach it to you in a way for you to apply it right now in a very easy to understand way. I don't feel that I can be financially independent when it comes to money. I always rely on my family for money. And then it's not my fault that the people around me care about me so much and just throw money at me all the time. That was it. That's all I had to do. I realized, like, damn, like I'm literally never asking them for money. Like they're literally giving me money because literally they're happy with how well I'm doing with the things in my life. And I've never asked for money. They just throw it at me. And none of this was happening until I started I started clearing resistance on money and stuff. All of a sudden, everyone's throwing money at me. Like my grandma, like who never throws money at me, starts to just call me over to her house and give me $500 like left and right, like every time I visit her, and then gives my sister like $500 too. It's like every time we go visit her now, it's like so ridiculous. Like So yeah, just remember, like when you get to like right here, like try out different thoughts before you kind of go down that path, right? Or just stop at the first thought that feels better, right? Like don't get stuck in the first less negative thought you think of. It might not get you on the wheel. Just try out another one, you know. All these examples I already did them, so it just looks like super smooth. But I tried out different thoughts, right? So let's go to relationships. I have a hard time getting over someone in relationships. I always hold on for too long and get hurt. Less negative thought. It's my fault for holding on for too long. I have enough experience now to know that the right thing to do is to let go. Right? So this is something that was like really like affecting me at the time. And it was like um just finding this thought. It's my fault for holding on too long. Just finding that thought, like, but I felt a lot of relief because it's like, hey, it's no one else's fault that I'm holding on to something for way too long, right? Like that's on me. And then I have enough experience now to know that the right thing to do is to let go. Because in the past, like I wasn't sure if I should keep holding on or let go or whatever, right? And then things would happen, bad things or like negative things would happen. And then I'm realizing now, like, okay, like this time around, like I already know what's the right move, so I don't have to go through that literally like year or two of uncertainty and just waiting for someone or whatever. Right now, like right off the bat, I know like I should just let go, like you know. So it's like right here. So let's say I was to do this again, right? I have a hard time getting over someone relationships. I always hold on for too long and get hurt. Like if I was to do this process again, let's say I'm trying to get on the on the wheel and everything, and I say something like, um, this time I'm gonna do so good, right? That's too positive, right? So I try again. Maybe I want that girl out of my life. I hate her, right? Like that's too negative, right? And then that's when I tried again, and I'm like, here, let me just cheat. And then I'm like, it's my fault for holding on to too long, right? Like that felt perfect, and I felt I could keep going. One more thought, right? I could have just literally stopped here, but chose to keep going. It's like I have enough experience now to know that the right thing to do is let go, and that made me feel even more relief. Next, relationships never work out for me. They always crash and burn. Every topic in my life crashed and burnt. I have oh, okay. Relationships never work out for me. They always crash and burn. Okay? That's my statement of resistance. Now I shifted into something less negative, which is every topic in my life crashed and burned. I struggled with it all. Um, eventually I come around on all these topics. So this is my less negative statement. So for me, it's like, hey, I'm struggling with relationships right now, but I've struggled on this level with all the other topics in my life before, like financially, socially, whatever other topic that I really cared about at the time. I've been able to, I mean, I really struggled with all of it so heavily, but I was able to conquer them eventually. And all those subjects turn into the most amazing like topic in my life. Like I'm thriving on all those topics right now. Anyways, eventually I come around on all these topics. So good, great. Now I'm just gonna stop there, and I'll talk a little bit about how you should do this every day, and then yeah, that's it. So you want to like address the same topics every day, but you're not going looking for these things. These resistance will just pop up every day, right? Like your bills, your insecurities, internally, externally. You're gonna have like these like disturbances. Like it feels like all of a sudden you get like a tinge of like worry or doubt or whatever, or it could be like a huge trigger. Whatever it is, when it comes up, then you can clear on it. You could clear on it on the spot or you clear on it later, right? And a lot of times, most of the time, I'm addressing the same topic. So I did the credit card one today. And then let's say later on today, I will address that again because it comes up again. Like I worry about credit cards again. And I just do another one. Like, hey, I'm really worried about my credit card. Like I don't know when I'll be able to pay it. Just say it. Just it's okay. Like just it's the same pattern, just say it. And then you shift again. But you shift organically. Like you don't go looking back on the ones you previously did and try to copy it. You just shift it on the spot based on how you feel in that moment. And a lot of the times, a lot of the process will look the same, but you'll see that as you do it every time, like it will look a little bit different, a little bit different, and then it'll day by day it will start to look really different. You're not trying to copy and paste, you're just trying to be accurate with how you feel right now. And if how you feel right now, if how it looks is similar to the other ones, it's okay as long as you don't copy and paste it. But you're gonna see a lot of times you're reaching new thoughts of relief. And every day as you're doing this, as you get better at this, you're gonna come across shift into newer and newer perspectives and thoughts. Like that's how you know you're doing it right. So do this process like 10, 15, 20 times a day if you want, or you can just do it 5 times a day, depending on what you're going through right now. I will pick one or two topics that I really care about or I really am facing a lot of resistance in. Let's say money and relationships or something. So I will maybe do 10 on money, right, and 10 on relationships. Um, and then I could do whatever amount I want on the other topics. So if I did 10 on money, maybe like 5 of them is like me worried about my coaching business. So or maybe the majority of what I'm stressed about is my online business. So maybe I'll do 5 throughout the day just on my online business and then 5 on like other aspects of money that I'm stressed about, like my credit card, bills, and whatever else. And then I'll do, like 10 on relationships, let's say. Like it's like I'll do a few on just feeling like, oh, like I can't find a partner, or a few on just whatever, right? Like it just however you want to do it, just do it. Um, but just a topic that you really want to clear on, then just do more. Hit more of these first bases. And that's it for the video. And I just want to let everyone know that my Clearing Resistance book comes out on Amazon on 8/8. So another month from this video, or whenever you're watching this, it's gonna be out, and it's gonna be way, way more in depth than any of these videos, right? And I talk about two things: the mastery of presence and shifting thought patterns for manifestation. So all the stuff that I'm gonna talk about in this video, like in this series, I will be talking about in that book, but way more in depth. And I also be talking about the mastery of presence as well. So these two things go hand in hand when it comes to clearing resistance. So um, if you resonate, then just check out that book when it comes out, and I'll keep everyone updated. And I'll see y'all on the next video. Peace.